Mental computation, subtraction strategies. All right, we're going to talk about how you can do subtraction in your head, right, mentally. But remember, it's going to look strange when we write it on paper because really we're supposed to be doing this in our heads. So the first method is called breaking up and bridging. So you're kind of subtracting in chunks instead of trying to subtract everything at once. So if I have 84 minus 25, for example, I'm going to break apart the 25. I'm going to subtract 20, then I'm going to subtract 5. So I'm separating out those place values. And then you're bridging it all back together, but maybe in a different manner. So I'm going to do the 84 minus 20 first because I can subtract that in my head easily because the second number ends in a 0. So 84 minus 20 is 64. And then I subtract 5 and I get 59. Again, this would be done in your head. So 84 minus 20 minus 5. Now what about 167 minus 32? Well, we can do 167 minus 30. That's 137 minus 2, 135. So breaking up that second number and doing the subtraction in like 2 chunks. That's breaking and bridging in a nutshell. Then we have what's called trading off. So with trading off, it's like you're giving a little bit to each of the numbers. You're trading them off for nicer numbers. So the way that this is set up currently, 72 minus 39, I would have to borrow. I don't want to have to borrow. So if I could figure out a way to make the top number bigger, it would be great. So we kind of already saw this before in a different video, but you can do this mentally. So just turn it into 73 and 40. And you should be able to subtract those either in your head, hopefully that's the idea, or without a lot of trouble because you don't have to think about regrouping and borrowing. So you're just making the top number a little nicer or the bottom number a little nicer. If you can make the bottom number end in 0, it makes it nice. So that's why they added 1. So 73 minus 40, much more doable than 72 minus 39. So 202 minus 28, again, if we could get that bottom number to end in a 0, that'd be great. So if I add 2 to both, it becomes 204 minus 30. Now this one you still have to borrow, but maybe you could count up or you could do some other strategy to come up with this one. But 204 minus 30, you could think of it as 200 minus 30, and then you could put the 4 back on. That might work because 200 minus 30 is 170, and then put the 4 back on there. But it's more doable in your head than the original. And then we also have the strategy of dropping the zeros, which this is a really nice one to use. I use this one quite often. So if I have 8700 minus 200, that's like 6 place values I have to, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 7 place values I have to think about in my head. But if I know that these all end in 0, then I know the final answer is going to end in zeros. And 87 minus 2 is 85. So I don't actually do 8700 minus 200. I don't do the hundreds part. I just do 87 minus 2 and then stick the zeros back on there. So 8500. That's the easiest way to do that one. So you can drop the zeros when you're doing math in your head. It'll make things a little bit quicker.